positive music.
That's right.
All my troubles seem so far away. Everything just feels so right, so right. Oh, what a day. Oh, what a day. A whole lot of sunshine is coming my way. What a day. I keep smiling and I'm feeling fine. Happiness by my own device. I keep going for the highest high. Everything just feels so right.
I got it out there already.
Good work.
How about that, huh?
Not me. I'm struggling.
Oh,
Go.
Come on, Grandma.
you're reflog tonight.
A whole lot of sunshine is
We got
coming my way.
3-3, yo. He says, this music makes me feel like I'm walking into J.C. Penney's.
Oh, what a day. A whole lot of sunshine is coming my way. What a day.
All right.
Oh, what a day. Oh, what a day. A whole lot of sunshine is coming my way.
Let's get this thing started. The Big Play Reflog Show is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Shack News, your go-to for gaming news, covers all your gaming content needs. They have the latest reviews and articles covering everything in the gaming universe, including a review of the newest generation of Pokemon Sword and Shield. My kids will love that. They'll also have, they got a bunch of reviews coming up for Black Friday deals on video games, laptops, iPhones, a whole lot more. Head on over to Shack News and get into the conversation. Click on that Shack News Twitter profile, because when it comes to gaming news, there is only one site to visit, shacknews.com. We got Trevor Bauer coming in here. You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Ready?
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah,
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. Today is Monday, November 25th, 2019. I am your host, Big Play Dave, alongside my main man, Mr. Chris McNeil, to my left, or my right, I mean.
Where did this month go, huh? To the 25th already? Man, oh man. Thanksgiving this week, my man.
Isn't it weird? It's super weird.
Yeah.
Christmas is
And then
almost
3
here.
weeks to Christmas after that. Jeez.
Bree, have you done your Christmas shopping, Bree?
0.
Nice. Are you like me? Are you an Amazon?
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Amazon 2-day Prime up
over.
until Christmas Eve.
Perfect.
Yeah. That a girl.
That's right. Hey, so we have a packed show tonight. As we mentioned, we got Trevor Bauer coming on here momentarily. Get your questions in here in the live chat. What's up, everybody? So tonight on the show, we have Power Rank Monday, presented by our friends hoverhelmets.com. We are ranking the best things about Thanksgiving. We're then getting into our interview with the one and only Mr. Trevor Bauer. Can't wait for that one. And then we'll break down the latest Cleveland sports headlines, courtesy of clevelandclothing.com. Do some over-unders, hit you with some would-you-rathers, and end the show with our bold predictions for the week. Let's get it going with some Power Rank Monday.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
The Buckeyes are undefeated, and the Browns are on a 3-game winning streak. Whether you're a lifelong fan or a bandwagoner, the perfect time is now to add to your man cave or office by buying a hover helmet from hoverhelmets.com. They have you covered with an awesome selection of sports helmets. They've got Browns, Buckeyes, Indians, among many, many other teams out there. So get yours today at hoverhelmets.com. We're going to be giving one away here soon, this one right here in the studio. Look for a tweet on Wednesday for your chance to enter. Going to give it away on Black Friday. We're going to do a bunch of different show helmet giveaways on Big Play throughout that day. Going to be a lot of fun. Tune in then and try to win a hover helmet. Go check them out at hoverhelmets.com.
Miles Garrett already gave away a helmet about a week ago, right? We sent him
a Steelers one.
Tried to.
Yes, he did. All right, so we got Thanksgiving right around the corner, 3 days away. In honor of this holiday, we are going to power rank the top 3 things about Thanksgiving. Who wants to start?
Dave, why don't you start us off tonight?
All right. My number 3.
Ding.
I'm going mixing the turkey, stuffing, and mashed potatoes together and then dousing everything in gravy.
So you guys don't compartmentalize with your different various sides?
I do when I'm like adding it onto the plate.
But then you mix it all up.
But then I just put gravy on everything and mix it all up.
Yeah, it's really the only way to do it in my mind.
Yep.
We're all in agreement on that? Wow.
Yeah, the mashed potatoes like become the condiment almost, where you just like dip everything into the mashed potatoes.
That's very true. It's very true.
We got my statistician with me today once again, Noah Heath. Noah, when you get everything for Thanksgiving, do you compartmentalize on your plate or do you mix it all together? He mixes it too. That's 4 for 4. That's amazing.
4. That's incredible.
All 4 of us.
Love that. My number 2, Christmas ale. First time I drink it, Thanksgiving. Haven't had it yet. Haven't had the latest concoction from Great Lakes. Hearing good things. I think this is a pretty good batch. So, first time out of the... I can't get into it before Thanksgiving. I know it's out. It's in all the bars. Usually it's not a great idea to drink too many of them, but...
Back in the day before I had kids, I'd bust open one of those about Thanksgiving, and I think I'd wake up on Christmas Eve. So
right, yeah. So combine number 3 and number 2, you get to my number 1. Passing out on the couch, watching some crappy football games I don't really care about.
Well, yeah, and this year was a particularly bad slate. If you looked at them, they're not real good.
I haven't even looked at them. What do you got? The Lions, Packers,
little Bears action in there.
Bears,
yeah. I don't.
Obviously,
nothing that really jumps off the page and goes, wow, that one I got to be there front and center and not under the influence of tryptophan or Christmas ale or anything else.
Yeah. Chris, what do you got? What are your top 3 things about Thanksgiving?
Well, my number 3, Dave, Thursday. Anytime you can get a holiday in the middle of the week, that's great because that sacrifices a work day. I love the 4th of July. I love Thanksgiving. This is one of those. Just a plus in my book to have it on a Thursday.
Real company man there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Number 2, no presents. No presents. You don't have to get presents for anybody. There's no cover charge at this party. You could just walk right in. Now, my apologies to everybody who's hosting, who has to make all the food and everything. Sometimes you bring a covered dish or some sort of a side, but you don't have to agonize over presents when you go to Thanksgiving. So I love that fact about this holiday. Any holiday without presents is always much, much easier. And my number 1, backyard football.
Yes.
And the still tradition of hurting yourself, because I do that just about every time I go out and play backyard football with my buddies. It started in high school, and back when we started going away for college, we'd come back and play the annual game. Now, who's ever around, if we can scramble together a game, we'll do it. Inevitably, it ends when somebody gets some kind of a horrific injury, and we go and drink some Christmas ales and laugh about it later on. But that's a tradition. I know it's a tradition in many, many households around Ohio and Northeast Ohio. But backyard football on on Thanksgiving is an institution.
2.5 The number, hamstring pulls for that game.
Go over. Go over all day. And don't even look back.
Bri, what do you got? What do you like about Thanksgiving?
All right, guys. So I had a really hard time with this. And if you don't know, we put together a template of the show, and you guys filled out your Thanksgiving power ranking quite easily. And then here I am being jealous of all of yours because I work in retail, corporate retail.
Ooh.
So I actually don't enjoy really anything about Thanksgiving because what follows Thanksgiving is Black Friday. And then from that moment on, my work life is chaos. So
Yeah, that sounds awful.
outside of the turkey and gravy, nothing.
Wow. Bah
sorry.
humbug, Bri.
I have to go work from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and be at work on Monday at 6 a.m., work on Sunday. So I'm not really feeling it this week.
Hey,
Bri, the Thanksgiving Grinch.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be happier around Christmas. I promise.
her
I
and
hope
Tony
so.
All
Grossi
these
have
people
the
in
same
retail.
feelings.
Anyone in retail out there on the Twitterverse that's commenting on this? Hey, listen, I'll just say this one service announcement. Be nice to people in stores.
There you go. It's a good call. Good call, Bri.
All right, I'm done with the negativity.
All right, that's enough Thanksgiving because we've got an interview coming in here. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready. Are
Transition.
you ready, Dave?
Let's do it. This pitcher was a starter for our Cleveland Indians from 2013 to 2019, included in an all-star selection in 2018. He's one of our favorites. He got traded midseason last year to the Cincinnati Reds. But let's welcome in our guy, Mr. Trevor Bauer. Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Trevor, let's start right off the bat. Serious question. You're in Cincinnati. Have you tried Skyline Chili?
I have not tried Skyline Chili yet.
Don't
I'm
bother.
generally just not like that big of a chili fan. But yeah, I probably, I will try it at some point just because it's a cultural thing. But yeah.
So Chris and I hate Skyline Chili. Just to preface that.
Just not a big fan. Not a big fan. It kind of looks like
I've heard mixed reviews.
Yes, it's polarizing.
Yeah.
But Trevor, getting back to when you were here with the Indians, obviously, you had a very heartfelt goodbye to all the fans here in Cleveland. When you left, you posted on Twitter that video montage thanking all of them. Why was that important to you as you were heading out of here?
Oh man, there's so many reasons. Just, I guess I would look at the person that I was when I was in 2013. When I was, I guess, 23 or 22, or I don't even know how old I was when I came over. But I look at the person I was then, and I look at the person I am now, and there's been so much growth and change, and the life of a baseball player, 9 months out of the year spent with a team, with a fan base, and kind of in the city and engulfed in that culture. And there's a lot of things that I learned and was able to grow from, and the fans were involved in all of that. A lot of great experiences, things that I'll look back on for the rest of my life. The Rajai Davis home run obviously was like the pinnacle, like top, like one of probably the best sportswoman I've ever been a part of, period, to this point. And then, there's some really low lows as well. That emotional spectrum of kind of the ebbs and flows, ups and downs of the season, and of a kind of as a microcosm of life. The fans were there through that with me. So just wanted to thank them for their part in making my time in Cleveland enjoyable and kind of helping, bring me through some of the lows and getting to share some of the highs with them. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we all play for the fans. We're entertainers. We all want to win. We're competitors, and we love the game that we play and stuff like that. But without the fans, there is no game. And they're super important to me and really to everybody that plays baseball. So.
Trevor, is that one of the reasons that you decided after you were traded to kind of come back and take in another game as a fan in the corner? That was pretty cool.
Man, I got so much crap for that.
Why'd you get crap?
The,
That's a
the
good
rumor
thing.
mill.
Really?
Oh no! It's just the rumor mill. Like
Yeah.
this reputation that I have, where people are like, oh, he only did that to make it about himself, and I don't know. I won't get into too many specifics about the people that said certain things that I wasn't too happy with. But the real reason is, you get 36 hours to like pack up your life and your apartment and your locker and say bye to everybody that you know and schedule like your travel to the airport, and you get 36 hours to pick up your entire operation, your entire life, and just move. And so there's a lot of stuff going on there, and sometimes things slip through the cracks. So when I didn't clean out my locker on the night that I got traded because I just didn't want to stay there all night. So I went back home and cleaned up my apartment and packed everything. And the next day I wanted to get to the field before anybody was there so that I wasn't, so that my stuff wasn't in my locker when the new guys got in town or whatever the case might be, right? So I went in the morning, and on the way to the field, I had forgotten to grab my checkbook because I wanted to, take care of the people in the clubhouse, the clubhouse attendants, the chefs, the video guys, the training staff, all the people that had, really taken care of me and done, done right by me. I wanted to do right by them and thank them for their service and their friendship and all the work they did for me. So I packed up my locker, but I had forgotten my checkbook. So when I went back home, I was going to grab my checkbook and go back to the field. Well, our media director had said, hey, do you want to come down and do media? Because the night that I was traded, I was actually there's a specific request from the organization that I not talk to the media because the trade wasn't technically official until all the medical records and physicals had been passed. So they asked that I not talk to the media the night before. So then I decided to, wait and not go back in the mid-afternoon, but go back closer to game time when the media was, because that's when my media director had told me that, I would talk to the media. And so I went back and went down to the clubhouse and, distributed the checks I had written to people and said, thanked them. Just stood kind of outside of the clubhouse. I didn't even go in the clubhouse. I just stood outside in the locker or in the hallway area. And then I went to do media, and the media ended up being during the game, but it wasn't, as far as I know, like broadcasting, where I was just talking to the beat reporters in a private room about everything that I had gone through. And as part of that, I'd never actually seen a game at Progressive Field as a fan. Like, I'd never been up in the upper deck. I'd never been to some of these, areas. And so after I finished my responsibilities, I was like, I'll just go pop up and at least see what the stadium looks like, since I won't be playing here anymore. And so that was really the motivation behind it. But it was cool. I wanted to see it from a fan's perspective, and kind of, the last big league game I had been to as a fan was with my dad when I was a kid, sitting in the bleachers. So it was just kind of a nostalgic moment for me.
All coming full circle there. That's pretty cool. Hey, one of the circumstances surrounding your departure here was, chucking the ball over center field fence after Tito took you out. I personally thought it was hilarious, to be honest with you, but I know it was frustration for you. What were your thoughts in that moment? Where do you come out on that?
And so, this is the stuff that nobody knows. I got super sick the day of my start in Toronto, which was 5 days before that. Super, super sick. To the point where that night after that start, I was shivering in a hot shower and
Wow.
couldn't fall asleep and sweating and no energy. So I had a good start in Toronto. Then I was fighting off that sickness for 3 or 4 days, to the point where I wasn't even at the field leading up to my start in Kansas City, because they had sent me home to try to recover and get ready to pitch. The day that I went to pitch in Kansas City, my last start, all the daily metrics that I collect, and I collect 50 plus metrics on myself every day to check my readiness and my blood work and central nervous system and strength metrics and all this different stuff. All of them were the worst that I've ever recorded in a year and a half of doing it. And so I should not have pitched that day. I just really shouldn't have been on the mound. But one thing that's really important to me is like I make my starts. It goes back to 2015 when I got food poisoning the night before a start, and I ended up not being able to make that start. TJ House had to cover that start for me. He wasn't on cycle. He stepped up to take my start, ended up tweaking his shoulder. Things, spiraled downhill that season for him, and I felt terrible because I felt like I should have been the one out there making my start because that's my job to help the team. And so I decided to pitch that day in Kansas City because I didn't want someone else to have to carry the load for me. And so then the inning happens, and just all season it had felt like, one step forward, 2 steps back, or I partially tore 2 ligaments in my ankle, and then kind of fought through that, and then my back was barking. It's like all these different things that had like kind of piled up, and then that inning happens, and there's all the bad luck things that can go wrong. I break a guy's bat, and it flares an inch out of the reach of Freeman diving at second, and I get a ground ball, and it doesn't go to someone. It finds a hole, and there's all these different things pile up, and I wasn't getting mad. Usually when those things happen, I get really mad, but I didn't even have the energy to get mad. And so I was so frustrated with I can't even, and I guess to talk about that, when I get mad, my stuff gets better and I get super competitive and I usually can get out of an inning. And I didn't have that response because I didn't even have the energy to have that response. And so when I was being taken out, it was just the super, the culmination of a seasons long frustration with just taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back all the time and not being able to kick in that competitiveness to help the team win that game. I mean, we were in the span of closing an 11-game deficit to the Twins, and we had gotten to within 3 or 2 or something like that at that point. And I didn't feel like I was able to do what I know that I'm capable of doing to help the team. And I was just super frustrated with that and how the whole season had been going so far. And just, had a human moment and was super frustrated. And that's what happened.
You didn't hit anyone with a football helmet, so it's okay.
Yeah. That's the new standard in Cleveland now.
Yeah.
Hey, take it to.
I saw that. That was a mess.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Trev?
I get it. We're all humans, and in the competition, you get fired up, you're jacked up on adrenaline, you do stuff sometimes that you look at later and you're like, how the heck did I even do that? Why would I do something like that? But it's just in the moment. So
one of the fun things you did, and I don't know if this was in the moment or whether it was planned, a few years ago, you took an at-bat. I think it was against the Cubs. And in one at-bat, you imitated the batting stances of Kipnis, Mike Aviles, and Ryan Rayburn, all in the same at-bat. And then you took
Michael Brantley.
Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, and Dr. Smooth, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed one. Yeah.
It was
that's
against
right.
it was against Pittsburgh, actually in Pittsburgh. That was kind of planned. That year I would just make fun. We had a lot of funny batting stances on the team, and I would just kind of grab a little foam roller in the dugout and imitate them, and just typical stuff that pitchers do when they sit around and watch 162 games. And so Aviles was like, "Oh, that's pretty good. You won't do that in the game." And so he said, "You won't," and I had to prove him wrong, and so I did it. It was fun, and the fans, it turned out really great because I drew a walk, and then Clint Hurdle, the manager with Pittsburgh at the time, was just fuming in the dugout over there that this had happened, and then they actually ran a fake back pick on me, and made me dive back into first base. Right after that, the first baseman wasn't anywhere close, and it had been raining, so I stuck in the mud, and so my jersey is all muddy, and I'm diving back into first, and the first baseman isn't anywhere around, and the catcher never threw the ball, and they just pointed at me and I got you. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
They dirtied you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good little bit of retribution.
No surprise. You're kind of famously out ahead of the curve on a lot of things. One of the things that's kind of hitting the media right now that you were way out ahead of was calling out Houston, specifically for some of the things that they did that you thought was out of bounds, or maybe out of bounds, where they were increasing their spin rate. Any thoughts on what's been coming out right now? And Trev,
It's just,
I'll
I
hit
know
a
my
trash
blood
can
clubs.
twice when an easier question is coming, by the way.
Yeah, I know my boy Clev took a lot of heat from the organization and from the media when he had some comments after the game in the game 3 of the ALDS in 2018, and there's just certain things that as players you can't really talk about. If
Okay.
you have your career, in mind in the future, you don't want to get labeled. Baseball is very big on labeling people, and then those labels never fade, as I'm still dealing with from my time in Arizona. But there's certain things that you can't really say, and I know Clev took a lot of heat for hinting at some of these things in the post game that all the players know. Like we know people on other teams, we hear things, the players know. So when I say certain things, I'm not talking out of my ass, I know what's going on. Everyone knows what's going on. We just can't really say it publicly and explicitly, because if we do, we'll be labeled as someone that you don't want on your team, or that's going to, you get blackballed basically. And none of us want to get blackballed. We all enjoy playing the game. So we can't really talk about this stuff, but everybody knows. And it's not just Houston. This stuff goes on all over, and the players know. And so it's frustrating when you go to match up against someone like that, when it's like, okay, well, they're going to know what we're throwing regardless of what we try to do. They're that advanced. So I guess, what are we going to do? So I don't know. I'm a big proponent of cleaning up the game. I think there's a lot of stuff going on right now that isn't, by the rules. And so it should be one way or the other. Either change the rules to accommodate for it and allow it, or enforce it. So that's just kind of where I stand. I don't have anything against Houston at all. It's not just Houston that's doing it. So yeah, any way we can clean the game up, whether it's, we've had this with the steroid era and made a big push to clean the game up in that way. There's other ways we can clean up the game, and I'm a proponent of that. Let everyone compete on a fair playing field. Let everyone compete with their skill and their work ethic and their ability and their desire, and then see who comes out on top. That's the spirit of sport. That's at least how I see the world. So yeah, I guess that's my comment on it.
So, Trevor, the other thing that you've been pretty outspoken about over the last few days is about fashion in the major league. So I have to ask you, given the opportunity to have some custom cleats, what would be your approach? Would you have a different pair every start? What would your custom cleats look like?
Oh man, I got some great ideas coming up this season. You guys will just have to stay tuned. I'll have probably more than 5, less than 10, somewhere in that range. Custom cleats, painted, some funny things, some cultural things, some city-specific things, some me-specific things. There's a lot of stuff that I have in the works and that I have planned, and I think it's a really good way for young people to connect with the players. NBA has done a great job of embracing pop culture and just the young generation, and baseball is not. There's this missing generation of baseball fans, and it's something that I'm really passionate about trying to change, because I love the game. Baseball was such a huge part of my childhood, obviously. It's such a huge part of my bond with my dad and my family and stuff like that, that, I don't want to see it fade from, the attention in the United States. And I think that's kind of the trajectory it's on. So my media company, Momentum, is designed to promote baseball and the players and to connect with the younger fans. I have, my marketing company, Brandish, is supposed to connect with the fans and help players grow their brands and be more I guess iconic, more of a sports icon, as opposed to kind of the way it is right now, where people are just, oh, baseball isn't marketable, or no one really knows about Kevin Plawecki. Kevin's one of the funniest dudes I know, and I talk to people and they're like, oh, isn't he just a backup catcher? What makes him interesting? No, you don't know him. If you just knew him the way I did, he's hilarious. And then it's just kind of hits you in the face, man, maybe we should just let fans know players more. And so then it becomes how do we do that? Is it through video? Is it through expressing themselves on their cleats? Is it through, you can get a certain amount accomplished in 140 characters on Twitter, but then players get scared because all that stuff gets twisted and taken out of context and whatnot. When you hear players explain what what they're talking about in person on video, or when you like, it comes off way different than just a couple characters on Twitter or, a picture on Instagram. So that's really my business side, the business side of things that I do right now is focused on, trying players grow their brands to have more opportunities off the field, and trying to help connect fans with players so that they can love the game and have a reason to root for their team and root for their favorite players. And hopefully that comes, bears some fruit and we can make some headway. I think we did a pretty decent job this year in Cleveland, and we're trying to expand and kind of get in more nationwide audience of, baseball fans that want to know more about players and have a deeper connection.
Yeah, I'm 100% all for that. So I fully support seeing those custom cleats on the field and getting some excitement about what they're wearing and getting to know the players a little bit better. Finally, we're going to get you out of here on one last question. We have a young high schooler here named Noah that helps intern for us, and he's on the high school dating scene. So you've stated some rules on Twitter before about your dating. So I just want to go over those rules really quick. Number 1, no feelings. Number 2, no social media. And number 3, Trevor, or in this case, Noah, can get around. Do you have any other advice for Noah you can offer as he navigates the dating scene?
No, it's this. I'm glad you asked this, actually, because this gets taken out of context. The principle behind this is I try to be as honest as I can with people. I try to tell them how I feel or how I don't feel, or, I try to be true to my word and have my word mean something. So I think the worst thing you can possibly do is mislead someone or not be upfront. Like, if your motivations are one thing, then just say that your motivations are that. And that way the other person can decide, is that something that I want to be involved with or not? And it protects both people involved. And that's really the whole reason behind, behind those things that I tell people, because I just want to communicate where I'm at. Because where I'm at is not going to change based on someone else. It's going to change based on where I'm at and what's important to me and what I'm focused on at the time. And at the point when I'm open to having a relationship, I'll no longer tell people that. But if I'm not open to having a relationship at all because of the position in my life, then I need to at least communicate that to someone up front, and so they know what they're getting involved in and whether they want to go down that road and get to know me or not. Like, I don't care if people want to get to know me really or not. Make the decision that's best for you and protect yourself. And I'm just trying to afford people the opportunity to do that, as opposed to knowing that myself and then, just allowing them to think whatever they think because I get something out of it, and then not having any regard for their feelings or their well-being. I don't like hurting people at all, so I just try to be honest and upfront with them. And so I guess that would be my advice to Noah, which is know who you are, know what's important to you, and know what position you are in your life, and then just be honest with people and communicate. Self-confidence and kind of having your life together is really attractive, especially after high school. It's not really valued sometimes in high school, but as you move on later in life, people start understanding that more, and that becomes an attractive feature. So just, be true to yourself and communicate and be honest with people, treat people well. And that's all I try to do with those things I tell people.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to fit that in a 140-character tweet. So thank you for going deeper. That was really good advice for Noah. Trevor, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Just, follow me on social. I got a lot of really cool things coming. I'm YouTube channel again. I'm going to have a weekly Q&A where I answer fan questions. I'm going to have a weekly tips where I give young players and young people just tips on life, baseball, whatever the case is. Obviously have some stuff planned for Twitter and for Instagram and whatnot. I just redesigned my website, trevorbauer.com. So there's a lot of cool, interesting things that will be coming to that over the off season, but mostly just trying to push out more media and help more people. I'm really passionate about helping people. So if you tune into my socials and follow along, hopefully I can help you in some way as well.
Awesome. Everyone go out, follow Trevor at Bauer Outage. Trevor, good luck this season, and we will see you in the Ohio Cup.
Awesome. Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor Bauer. A+.
Killed
Good
it.
stuff,
A+,
huh?
yeah.
We touched a lot of bases there, not to use a baseball analogy,
Yeah, we
but
did.
we were kind of all over the place with him, and he was going right with us. So that was some good stuff. We learned a few things today, didn't we?
That's right. Noah better take some notes.
I thought that was
some
really
sound
good advice. Yeah, I thought that was really good.
I know. It was so sincere, too. I was
Very
kind of
deep.
upset, to be
Yeah.
honest.
You were kind of
really
honest.
Chris,
Come
come
on.
on.
I was really hoping for something that wasn't that deep. I was really hoping for something, kind of like the comment was, that there are 3 rules to date him. I thought he was going to stand by those, but he didn't. He
Well,
went
Noah's
lot
not a
deep.
baseball player.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's the
Very
one
true.
major difference here is you aren't a millionaire baseball player. So the first rule or advice I would give you, Noah, is be a
baseball
a
player.
millionaire baseball
There you go.
player who's a pitcher. Then you'll be fine, right?
That's right. Work on your spin rate.
Spin rate.
All
That's
right,
right.
let's move on to some Cleveland headlines.
That was great. Thanks, Trev.
Yeah, that was great. Chris, tell the people about our friends over at the Cleveland Clothing Company.
Well, Dave, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's rivalry. Oh, that's hard to say.
Hold on, you got
Rival
it. You got it.
Week in Northeast Ohio with the Browns taking on the Steelers and Ohio State going to Ann Arbor. I can't think of a better way to support my favorite teams than by picking up some cool new gear from Cleveland Clothing Company. Grab a new Browns t-shirt to wear to your Thanksgiving family get-together and wear it proudly by your one weird uncle who happens to be a Steelers or Wolverine fan. No matter the occasion, be sure to stop by any one of their locations, downtown at East 4th, in Akron at the Summit Mall, East Side and University Circle, and over here by the Big Play Studio at Crocker Park, or online at clevelandclothingcompany.com. Use the promo code BIGPLAY20 to get your 20% off.
So they're teasing. You know how these apparel companies go out there and they'll tease their new graphics or their new shirt, like
Yep.
GV Art does it, Cleveland Clothing does it. They've got this new one that all it is, it's like the tag, but it looks like a orange and brown flannel,
Yes, I'm all about that.
right? They've been
Yes.
teasing it for like 2 weeks too. Do you think you think they're gonna put like the CLE on there, or you think they're going like are they going the fashion route here? They're just going brown and orange upscale party.
I know, but from what I've seen, it looks awesome. I'm going to wear
Doesn't
it.
matter. I'll buy it anyway.
Exactly. I've seen enough. Just take my money.
That's right. Let's talk some Browns. Our Cleveland Browns beat the god awful Miami Dolphins 41-24, bringing our win streak to 3 games.
Ooh.
All right, aside from a stretch in the third quarter, Browns completely dominated this game. Is this are the Dolphins that bad, or are we kind of finally clicking, Bri?
Oh, maybe a combination of both, right? The offense clicks and
Sure.
we're playing a really bad team. So I think it was a combination, but it was really nice to see our offense actually be somewhat consistent and not stall throughout this game.
And no Freddie Kitchens kind of messing up anything.
Oh, yeah.
Is he growing?
I can't complain about Freddie.
No one has. I feel like it's been a couple weeks now.
Well,
Oh,
I
here
don't
he
know.
comes.
I
All
was
right, Chris,
complaining
what-
a little bit during that game.
What?
It seemed
You
like
want
we
to
could.
run the ball more?
Well, we could stick to the fundamentals. Every time we try and get,
Oh, here we go.
kind of original with our play calling or pull out the trick plays, it doesn't seem to work very well. And when we have a team like the Dolphins, no need to show off trick plays when you can just go right at them. So, but hey, it was a blowout win. I feel real good about that. So I'm not going to kill the guy over that.
Are you talking about kind of the fake jet sweeps with like Kareem
Yeah.
Hunt where he hasn't been on the team all that long? I hear you there.
And I'm old school too. I mean, some of the running plays where we're going sideways, we're going parallel with the line of scrimmage. I'd rather just run it straight at them. I think we've got the kind of talent where we could do that, especially obviously at running back. So, but what really gets me is that we're burying the lead on this one. The fact is that both Bri and I were at the game and we were a section away from each other and didn't realize it.
How does that
We
happen?
said-
I know.
She said like 309. I was in 310 and had no idea until we got
Sorry,
on this
Twitter.
pre-show prep. It was amazing.
Good work,
How
guys.
does that
Good
happen?
work.
How does that
That's
happen
insane.
in this day and age of social media?
But I
So,
thought
Chris-
Cleveland can.
And yeah, she took pictures with Cam, who used to be on her show. And I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to kind of take a picture with you guys. Nah, it'd be too hard. They're
You
probably
were
on the
like
other
2
side of
rows
the-
I'll
I was like,
retweet it.
Incredible. That's incredible. Wow.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, it was fun, you know. I'm always underdressed. I always do this. You always underestimate the wind
it was
off
cold.
because it was pretty cold. You thought 44 degrees, okay, sunny, it's going to be all right. It was still pretty chilly out there.
No
The
sun on
Brownies-
our side.
Yeah, exactly. We were in the shade for most of the game. But you know, they look good. I mean, they look good, Dave. What do you think's going to happen now in a week? We got some momentum going. Like I said, this is peak Freddy right now. We're enjoying peak Freddy. Hopefully, we can keep it up for another
Oh,
week.
people were mad at you about that.
Freddy.
People
Peak
were
Freddy.
mad about. Oh.
We're enjoying peak Freddy. It just continues. We're on that plateau.
Hey,
I mean,
man,
did he
if
go
we
up?
win every week, it
Did he
doesn't
go
matter.
up though? This is what I said. You can't
Yeah,
really
You said,
go up
you
secured
said
his
he
spot.
can't go up.
a little bit, maybe.
You said he plateaued. It's over.
Right. Which I mean, you beat Miami. Okay, that's expectations. That's about where he was before.
Hey, man,
That's where he was when he beat
Miami-
Buffalo.
Miami won
Pittsburgh.
2 out of the last 3 games.
They're Miami. Did you watch that game, Dave? I mean,
Oh, they're so
they looked
bad.
like they had Freddie on their side. They had Freddie from earlier in the season was actually coaching their team. I mean, and then they challenged that play at the end of the game or toward the third quarter.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
pass down the left side. It's like, what are you challenging? What, 2 feet and 2 knees? And you're going to challenge what the pass interference part of that? I mean, what are you even doing?
Do
What
you
are
think?
doing in that?
Do you think Brian Flores just threw the challenge flag and just looked over Freddie, and Freddie just gave him like a nod, like, "Yep, that was the right call."
Right. That's exactly, they both just understood. That's just kind of, they lock eyes and they're like, yeah, I get it, man. I get it.
It was like, honestly, though, watching the 2019 Cleveland Browns play the 2017 Cleveland Browns,
Oh.
like that's literally what it felt like.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I guess it is. I guess it is. But
I
hey,
mean, it's good to be in the other shoes for once, but I
True.
will say, like, part of me during the first quarter starts to feel bad for the other team. And why?
Yeah.
Because we were that other team for so
Yeah,
long.
what
For-
are you talking
for
about?
20
I didn't feel
years.
sorry for them.
I just started to feel bad until the third quarter, and then I was just getting mad again.
Yeah, I was going to say, about the time you start feeling sorry for them, it's about the time they come back.
They came back. So
That's
I was
right.
over that real quick.
Baker Mayfield, though, in that game, speaking of some positivity, 24-34, 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, had that pick. That was the most passing yards all season against the Dolphins, so I know they're crappy, but Baker Mayfield's the best quarterback against them. We'll take that.
I'll tell you what, I don't know, Bree, if you were watching live there, the OBJ
Yeah.
touchdown. Oh my God, was he wide open? And everybody in the stadium like held their breath there for a second. 'Cause everybody saw it and they were like, "Oh, make that pass, make that pass." Baker holds it for just that split second longer and then throws it. You just think, "Oh, he's gonna miss him. He's gonna miss him," and he hit him. But man, he was wide open on that pass. He needed to make that throw probably a little bit earlier. It ended up working out, but he had him the whole way.
And he
Are you
caught
trolling me, Chris? Because
No.
I was so mad because I was getting a stadium bratwurst and I
Oh,
missed
were you really?
the-
Oh, I had no
I missed
idea.
the Odell touchdown in person. So I
Oh,
saw
that's
it on the TVs on the inside and ended up getting stadium mustard all over myself. I was so excited. But man, I guess I need to leave every time Odell's in position in the red zone. That's what I'll do. I will make that sacrifice.
And you just see the play develop there, and he was just all alone, and just praying that Baker sees him. And Baker obviously had a pretty good game there. Still missed some throws. There's still some that are off target that
Sure.
really concern me. But I'm not going to take anything negative away from there. I thought he had a good game. He put it all together, so I'm happy for that. I'm happy when I was walking out of the stadium. Everybody was feeling good. It's kind of a playoff atmosphere again. We're grasping at straws sometimes, unfortunately. But hey, it's still a good feeling. Still a good feeling to get that win.
Yeah, another good feeling. Landry and Beckham, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's what we expected
see it.
week 1. We finally got it.
And we were concerned about the defensive line. We had one starter there, Sheldon Richardson. We were getting after him. And there were several times where I thought we were going to swat the ball out of his hand for Fitzmagic. I mean, we were right around him all game long. Unfortunately, there were a couple of times where he took off running on us and looked like Lamar Jackson, the way we were a little bit too aggressive, and they were able to push us around in the pocket a little bit. But we were still right in there on the regular, and that was good to see from backup defensive linemen.
A guy we don't talk about enough, you're talking about defense, Joe Schobert.
Yeah, another
4
huge game, right?
interceptions over the last 2 weeks. This guy's a Pro Bowler. I don't know if
Been
there's
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a more I don't want to call him undervalued, but like underhyped maybe linebacker
Yeah.
in the entire NFL than Joe Schobert.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. He took a lot of heat, I feel like, even like early on at the beginning of the season and even into the end of last year, just about should we be paying this guy? Should we extend his contract? And I think he's proven that, heck yeah, we should.
Yeah, and I think going into the season, that was kind of viewed as one of our weak spots. But we've
Yeah.
got some of these. Taki's been getting some playing time. We've got
Yeah.
Matt
Yeah,
he
Wilson,
has. Boy.
Schobert. I mean, this is a pretty legitimate linebacking core that we've kind of concocted here in Cleveland.
Right?
All led by Joe Schobert. Love it. Vote him for the Pro Bowl. Another guy, Kareem Hunt. We're 3-0 with Kareem Hunt. Coincidence, or is that significant?
I think it's a coincidence, but it sure doesn't hurt. Sure doesn't hurt at all. It's great having him back there. And he could block a little bit, catching passes out of the backfield and just running straight ahead. I mean, I love what he brings to the table for us. And he gets a touchdown. What was that? That was his first touchdown as a Brown, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love that 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch is really nice to have, especially at running back. And what we talked about earlier in the season, the fact that he was suspended for most of the season there up until this point, that really works kind of in our favor. You now got a running back who doesn't have the kind of mileage for this year that a lot of the other running backs in the league have. And I think there's an area of diminished returns on running backs. Once you get to a certain point in the season, they start to wear down. So I think that's a real advantage now.
Yeah, I just like that the looks that Kareem affords the Browns because he's a great pass catching running back as well, which Nick Chubb has been doing fine at as well. But I think Kareem just gives us a different look, and defenses now have to game plan for both Chubb and Kareem on some of the plays. And then, not to mention, you have OBJ and Jarvis lining up on the same line with them. And then I think maybe this week, David Njoku, my guy, I've been pulling for him to come back. So I hope that he comes back again and we have another offensive weapon, because I think in order to win out the rest of the season and compete, we're going to need to rely on our offense to outscore the other team, because I do think our defense, obviously we're missing some key pieces there that I think it's going to come down to, can our offense perform better and outscore the other team's offense? So I'm excited to get him back as well.
Hey, if they look anything like they did against the Dolphins, I would expect a blowout here. So you guys,
I hope so.
Right? Yeah. So moving on to the Steelers. I mean, you guys were at this last game. Did you guys see the Mason Rudolph pinata at the tailgate? This has been a very polarizing thing on social media. Most people saying it's disgusting. Some people thought it was in good fun. Where do you guys land on this?
So this really harkens back to the night before with what Pumpkinhead had done. Because Pumpkinhead kind of kicked off all this fun, because he was going to have at Barley House an official effigy of Rudolph out there, tied up with a noose, and they were going to hit it with an aluminum bat. And that is
not a
over the
pinata.
line.
Not a pinata.
An effigy. An effigy. He had posted video of him doing it, I guess, in his garage or whatever. I mean, come on, what are we doing on Saturday night?
Such bad taste.
I mean, really, it was in such bad taste. And it's like, no, that's where, I don't know where the line is, but that's over the line there. And then the following day, of course, we have the pinata that's hit with a helmet. I thought that was at least a little bit creative. You have a pinata being hit by a helmet. Okay, but then you put it in light of what Pumpkinhead's already done.
Yeah,
We're already
kind of
going
ruined
down
it,
that
didn't
path.
he?
It's like, I don't think that path is one we need to mess with. Maybe if it was just the pinata, maybe that would have been okay. I don't know. But in light of what Pumpkinhead had already started there, then that just came off wrong. And it was taken. You talk about, I was ripped on quite a bit for my parade, for the parade we did in Cleveland, that it would embarrass the city, right? This pinata thing went and hit all over sports centers, all over media, all over the place. I mean, that's embarrassing for the city, as close as you're going to get in my mind. But hey, whatever. People are going to move on from this. It's not like it's going to be a big black mark or anything like that. I certainly don't think so. I think people will move on. I was surprised at how polarizing it was.
It was kind of funny to see the replies to that from the Pumpkinhead one. They're like, this guy doesn't represent us. Please don't think that, national media.
Right.
Yeah, even before he did that, he didn't really represent the Cleveland fans.
Correct.
Yeah, this wasn't the thing that broke the camel's back.
But I mean, going back to the Steelers and Browns, is the rivalry back as it is right now? Because I don't think so yet. Like, I think the hate is back on both sides. But you think about this. I mean, we're going against the third-string quarterback. We're going against running backs, wide receivers that are completely banged up. I think the only way it actually gets back here is we go out there on Sunday and absolutely kick their ass. Like I want to destroy.
It's the juxtaposition.
Yes.
Dave, it's the juxtaposition of the Ohio State-Michigan. You know,
Yep.
Where's that rivalry at right now? Where's that Well, we've won 7 straight. Ohio State has
Correct.
over Michigan. Michigan's got to hold up their end of the deal. You know, I don't want them to. I don't want them to ever win. But in order for it to be a real huge rivalry, they'd have to hold up their end of the deal. The Browns have got to do the same thing. The Steelers have continued to kick our butts. You know, we get a win this year. We got to go out and just steamroll them in Pittsburgh. Then all of a sudden, then it's on. Then it starts perking up some ears. But as of right now, it's like we had a nice win. Okay, that's a good story.
Right.
Now it's going to be back to the same old when we get to Pittsburgh. We got to keep that fire going. Keep this thing rolling.
Yes, make them look pathetic in their own house. And
Then it's on.
Then after we sweep them and their crappy team, then I think the rivalry's back. After we dominate an entire season, no matter what players they've got going on. Bri?
Yeah, well, here's my take on it. We typically have not performed well against second or third string quarterbacks. So if they play Duck Hodges, I don't know how I feel about that. And then the other thing is, I don't know if you guys have looked ahead at the weather forecast, but I think it's going to be pretty rainy and stormy over the weekend. So feels like this game could get sloppy and messy. I just think we have to play clean and we need to come up with a win. And if we could beat the Steelers twice in a year, I don't care if we beat their entire third string. I will take it.
Hell yeah. I'm with you.
It just doesn't happen. We've been beaten by their second and third string before, right? It's usually what happens at the end of the year.
Tommy Maddox. We made Tommy Maddox look
no.
like Tom Brady back in the day. Did you have to bring that up, Bri? You always bring
I'm
up
sorry.
things like,
I'm not trying to
I'm
be
in a good
negative.
mood. Won 3 straight. The Buckeyes are on a roll. Really feeling good about things. And then you bring up little things like this that just stick in my craw like that. Now I got to think about back.
So let's look at this Browns-Steelers matchup. So Browns will move into second place in the division if we get this win. Steelers are, obviously super banged up. We don't have Ogunjobi. We might have Olivier Vernon back for this game. We'll have to wait and see.
What's the deal with him? He's like a Njoku type.
Yeah.
It's just like weird.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Cleveland's defense, though, 7 points last game against Pittsburgh. Do you guys think we're going to see a repeat performance from our defense against Devlin the Duck Hodges?
I'd hope so.
Right.
I mean, everything is pointing that direction, whether you're talking about the weather, as Bri just said, a backup quarterback, the fact that our defense is starting to come together, week after week, even though we've been playing, changing interchangeable parts in both the secondary at the beginning of the season, now the line, it seems like we've been able to hold up and weather a lot of storms. So as things come together, then you would guess that we would continue to improve, and that would mean a good performance here in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to be very interested to see, but I expect a good performance out of this defense.
Yeah, I would hope so because Pittsburgh's offense, there's no weapons left. So there's no reason why our defense shouldn't be able to handle them. I'm actually more curious about how our offense is going to handle the Steelers because the Steelers defense has been pretty good. And I think the last game, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Joe Hayden were pretty much non-existent. So again, I think it's really just utilizing our receivers and hopefully, like I said earlier, we get Njoku back, we utilize our tight ends, and then let's run the ball. If it's raining, can we please run the ball? Let's not pass it all over the place. But that is one thing that Freddie Kitchens does seem to do is he makes these horrible play calls in these weird situations. So if it's raining, can we please just run the ball?
I don't know.
Preach.
Kareem
Say
Hunt
it again for the
Kareem
people
Hunt's,
at the back.
Kareem
That's
Hunt's
perfect.
only averaging 4.4 yards a game, way below Nick Chubb. So I don't know. Not sure what you can do there. It's incredible what these guys are averaging. Like they're literally averaging almost 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to look at that,
Both of
especially
them.
in the red zone. First and goal, don't throw the ball.
Ugh, I know.
So a lot of national media talking about this Browns-Steelers rematch. Been reported NFL's reached out to the Browns, reached out to the Steelers, not to make this a revenge game. Do you think this has been kind of overblown, or are you expecting some craziness in Pittsburgh?
I'm expecting some craziness in Pittsburgh.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
people are pretty jacked
absolutely.
up in Cleveland. You know, we've got a little bit of mojo going. I think you're going to see some craziness. I think from what I've seen on social media, some people are willing to go over there and do whatever it takes to create some craziness. So I think you're going to see that happen. Hopefully everybody can keep things under control and not go too crazy over there, and there won't be any big problems. But, you know, I at some point, and I had this discussion pregame with my uncle. He wrote an op-ed that may or may not appear in the USA Today here in the next week, but he talked about how it's amazing that the NFL, and specifically talking about Myles Garrett in that situation that, you know, we took off Rudolph's helmet and hit him with it. It's like the NFL then backs off and says, whoa, that's not us. It's like everything around this game, you market for all the violence of it. And they've had programs in place for the fans for years. They've had nothing for the players in terms of how to deal with violent types and helping them through this process. So it's kind of interesting. You know, the NFL's created this beast, and then you're trying to kind of put the toothpaste back into the tube here when the fans get way too jacked up as they are right now in the rivalry. And so it's kind of an interesting problem that they've got. They've built it, and now what do you do? What do you do if something happens?
You cover it up, Chris. You cover it up.
That's right. Or you say, oh, that's not us. We're not like that. It's like, well, wait a second. This is the product. This is the product that you've put together. You've so carefully crafted over the years. Now, I'm not going to believe that you're not at least a little bit culpable for what happens. So, I don't know. He's calling it the NFL the no-fault league. It's like, that's kind of interesting.
That's pretty good. That's
pretty good. That's pretty good. So look for that. It's an op-ed in the USA Today, maybe written by Greg McNeil. You may be seeing that one. So
I love it. I think we're getting a lot of whistles, a lot of flags on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we're getting that anyway. I'm getting sick of all the flags, by the way. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But sit through that game. At least most of the flags this time were against the Dolphins. But every single pass play, man, it's going to be pass interference. And I'll be darned if they're not going to challenge it, too. Drives me nuts. Get off my lawn.
That's right. Speaking of flags, white flags, Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
Chris and Bri, the game is right around the corner. We got 9-2 Michigan hosting the 11-0 Ohio State Buckeyes this Saturday. Buckeyes dominated the series. Chris, you mentioned it earlier. 14 of 15 they've won. That is so pathetic. That is so pathetic. You got Jim Tressel gone. You got Urban Meyer gone. Brian Day obviously doing very well. But Wolverine fans kept saying this was going to be their year. Chris, any predictions for this game? You think it's going to be another mirage?
I think it's going to be Penn State 2. I think it's going to be Penn State 2. I think the only way that Michigan really sticks around is if we make mistakes and we let them hang around for a little while. Otherwise, we're going to outclass them, out-talent them on the field. I think you're just going to see a Buckeyes team that's motivated. Now they're so close to the end, I think that they can smell it. And you're going to see a team that's very motivated. Ryan Day's going to have them going up there in Ann Arbor.
Yes. Bri, you think a blowout?
I mean, really.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Browns game yesterday. The Browns let Miami back into it. That's the only thing that got Miami into that game. The only thing that can get Michigan into this game is if Ohio State lets them.
Yep, I agree with that. And I will just say, Michigan has not beaten Ohio State since I have married my Michigan husband. So the curse is still alive and well.
Wow.
Love it.
Yep.
So if that happens, we'll have to get.
We always like to sneak a little Cavs in here. So they snapped their 6-game losing streak on Saturday, defeating Carmelo Anthony and the Trailblazers. Not something I thought would ever happen. We need to get back to the Browns. So 10 seconds to talk about the Cavs real quick. Any thoughts you want to convey about the Cleveland Cavaliers thus far?
Carmelo Anthony's gotten bigger. He's a big. I've always remembered him as being a small dude on the court. Now he's just he's bigger.
Do you remember Shaq and Barkley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of getting fat. You know?
Yeah.
End of the career. Remember, he was supposed to be opposite LeBron. Remember that whole thing?
So many trade
he was
scenarios.
Supposed to be that. Yeah.
The
That's
ESPN
amazing.
trade machine or whatever that was put Carmelo in there over the years quite a few times.
That's right. Amazing.
I love how this was supposed to be about the Cavs, and McNeil talks about Carmelo Anthony, who does not play for the Cavs.
That's all I care about in the NBA is who's getting fat and who's getting thin. That's why
Oh,
Kevin Love is one of my
Kevin
favorites.
Love, yeah.
He does both.
He's good.
All right, let's do over-unders. I'm going to give you guys an over-under a number. I want you to give me over or under. We're going to go back to the Browns-Steelers here. So, Chris, number is 150. Receiving yards combined between OBJ and Jarvis Landry. They had 232 last week versus the Dolphins.
Over.
You think they're
Like
both
it.
going to? You think they're going to keep building the momentum?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're on a roll right now. He's starting to develop that chemistry that we didn't see necessarily consistently throughout, the early part of the year. And I think that's starting to come together now.
All right, 0.5. Bri, missed field goals or extra points by our
Ouch.
Browns.
Don't do this.
Ooh. Under.
I'm with you there. I think Seibert is going to kick much. Cleveland Brown Stadium's a tough place to kick.
Yeah, we only miss at our own home stadium. That's my thing.
All right, I like that. Keep it going. Back to 100%. All right, Chris, 20 combined penalties by these teams.
Over.
Steelers and Browns.
Over.
Oh, yeah.
How combined fights over under 20.
Combined ejections.
Combined ejections. That's right. Fines.
Combined fines.
Right.
Did you see that list of
What?
fines from the game on Thursday night?
Oh, my God.
It looked like a CVS receipt. I mean, wow.
Dude, I just went to CVS like 2 days ago. I bought a couple
How
things.
big was the receipt, right? They
It
had the
went-
longest
it-
receipts in the game.
You have all those coupons at the end.
What is up with that? I went and it literally was printing out for at least 30 seconds, which is a very, very long time. And I laughed and I was like, is something wrong with it? And she didn't say anything. She's just like, here you go. I was like, wow, this is super weird. 4.5, Bri. References to Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph fiasco during the broadcast.
Definitely over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you take the over on that,
It's going to be like 30.
right?
All right, Chris, back to the Buckeyes. 2.5 sacks by Chase Young against Michigan.
Ooh, I'll go push. I'll go push on that one. 2.5 is pretty damn good, by the way. For average players, that's really good. For Chase Young, that's going to be like a letdown.
Hey, 3 last week.
I know. He's just incredible. He is just incredible. It's so much fun to watch guys like
Can we
that.
talk about him, though, for a minute? Because
Yeah.
I don't want the Bengals to draft him. I
Right?
don't want him to be a problem in the AFC North for the next 10 years.
We really need Devlin the Duck Hodges to be really, really good. Or, I mean, really, really bad on Sunday. So they take a quarterback number 1.
Ah, there you go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. But he's
We'll see.
phenomenal. 16.5 sacks on the year.
There's the understatement of the year.
Crazy.
He's phenomenal. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's not bad.
I really wish he could have won the Heisman. I feel like they can't do it anymore because he was out for a little bit. But
You never know, man.
They
you go up
should.
to Michigan and he goes nuts.
Yep.
Like causes two turnovers, gets 3.5, 4 sacks, something just insane, right? A handful of tackles, and has some signature plays that are played over and over again on YouTube and just shared all over the place on social. Then maybe he sneaks back into there. I think right now he's getting invited to New York.
yeah, that's
Right?
awesome. I mean, that's like who was the last defensive player to get invited to New York as a finalist? Maybe Noah could look that up.
Probably what's his face, fake dead girlfriend.
Manti Te'o, was he there?
Te'o. Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Fake dead girlfriend.
Manti Te'o. I saw he does have an actual girlfriend now, so that's good for him.
Yeah, she's not fake or dead like she was back then.
Photoshop. Chris, last one, 40 points scored against Michigan.
Oh boy, I'm gonna go over. Why not?
I mean, we're averaging almost 50. Why the
Awesome.
heck not? Why
Go
the heck
Bucks.
not? That's right. All right, a couple would you rathers. I know we're running late here, but let's get these in here, and we'll get you guys on your way on this Monday. All right, Chris, I'm going to give you a positive scenario here. Both teams are going to win in this scenario. But would you rather the Browns blow out the Steelers or the Buckeyes blow out the Wolverines?
Oof.
That's a tough one, right?
It really is. It really is. But both teams are already winning.
They both win.
Okay, give me Browns blowing out the Steelers.
Yes.
Give me that. I mean, we still get the Buckeyes winning. That's fine. The Buckeyes blew them out last year. This year, it's a little closer in Ann Arbor. Doesn't affect anything really materially for them going for the national championship. Whereas the Browns blowing out the Steelers really changes things in the AFC North and the perspective of the Cleveland Browns nationally. So I'll go with that one.
And I'm sure Bree and I are both with you there. All right, Bree, I've got one for you here. Would you rather the Steelers start Mason Rudolph or Devlin Hodges?
Give me Mason Rudolph all day.
You want revenge.
Revenge.
She's got revenge on her mind. Watch
Plus, he's
out.
horrible.
yeah, you and Sheldon
He's
Richardson.
bad.
Yeah.
4 picks, baby. 4 picks.
That's right.
Oh, I love it. All right, let's give some bold predictions and get on out of here. Chris, do you have a prediction for us?
I'm going to eat a lot of turkey on Thursday.
That is not
Oh, my
bold.
gosh.
That is not bold.
Bold prediction. Over the top. No, I don't know. Give me, how about 2 blowouts? The Buckeyes and the Browns
Woo!
both blowout wins on Saturday and Sunday.
I like it.
Yes.
How
All right,
about
Bree, you
that?
got one for us?
And
Oh, and?
Oh, you
the
got three?
Scottish Hammer is going to fake a punt. He's going to run for a touchdown.
Oh, that was going to be
up
mine.
there at Heinz Field.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to happen.
okay. It's like this
Mark
is like
the
his
tape.
8th prediction.
Mark the tape. Noah, mark the tape on this one.
Does Noah have a prediction?
Noah, what is your bold prediction for this week? Anything. Think about it. Think about it while they're doing theirs. Think about it for a second, then text it to me. We'll get yours on here.
All right, I got mine, Dave.
Let's hear it.
Our man Joe Show comes up with 2 more interceptions, making it 3 in a row.
Wow. Is that what
6.
we're calling him now?
That's bold,
Show?
Chris.
That's bold.
Is that what the kids are calling him? Is that what the cool kids
Joe
are calling him?
Joe Show?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
I
you?
don't know, or just me.
Oh, wow. I was not hip to that jive. Okay.
Not hip
Show.
to the job.
I'm there now. I'm going to start using that term. That way I'm cool with the kids.
Joe Show.
All right.
You have a bold prediction.
No, not really. I'm trying to think of one.
What?
I'm trying to think of something super
Over
bold.
under number of Christmas ales Dave's going to drink on Thursday.
No, over.
What?
I didn't even tell you a number, and you're going over, baby.
I'm going over. I'm
Just
going
remember,
over.
we have a show on Monday, and there are 2 important games over the weekend. All right.
Yeah, let's see. I will go Browns, and I will say that Nick Chubb has 130 yards on the ground versus a formidable opponent in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Putting him number 1 in the NFL over Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, that's right.
Wow, that's bold.
Kind of. He's averaging like 100-something. Noah, did he think of one? Did we put him on the spot?
You know what? I'm waiting. Everyone with bated breath. Here it is. He's got 2 things here. Oh, he's got one for the Buckeyes, and he's got one for the Browns.
Let's hear him.
Very specific. We love specific on the show. J.K. Dobbins will tear up Michigan's defense with 170 rushing yards and two touchdowns. That's part number 1. Part number 2, Baker Mayfield throws for 4 touchdowns. 2 of them are going to OBJ. Put it down.
I like Noah.
You like Noah? Yeah. Who doesn't like Noah?
Me too.
There you go. Very positive. He brings a very positive influence. Just him and Bri, very positive.
That's right. Good show, guys. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Trevor Bauer. That was one of my favorite interviews that we've done so far. That was really, really good.
It was good.
Yep. Go Buckeyes. Go Browns. Blowouts. And we'll see you guys next Monday.
Let's do it.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.